Welcome to our channel!
What the hell? First of all, if you do that, you're shady, yeah? Absolutely shady. I think the backbenchers need to take this one. Welcome to
Shamelessly Opinionated!
So this week, we shall be discussing a very touchy-feely topic, but it's a very relevant topic in today's society and in Kenya. And it is, are we all corrupt? So to kick us off, I feel like I let the ladies go first. Works?
I feel like this is a definitive yes.
Aha.
Like, and it filters down to the most basic things at this point in time, like just the whole element of cheating and trying to find shortcuts through life. And it's not just, I don't think it's just a political concept anymore. I think it's been normalized, it's been injected into our culture in that sense. Yeah.
Hque?
I want to say no, because I believe we still have good people in the world. I want to have hope in humanity and trust that we can't all be corrupt. So I just wanna stay true to the hope that, you know, that some good people out there. Yeah.
Ask?
Well, I think it's very difficult to say yes or no, because life isn't black and white. I think the issues, and I'd speak about Kenya because I mean that's my experience so far. I think in Kenya the problem is hard work doesn't seem to pay. And because of this, we're breeding a culture of, since hard work might not always pay, let's find a shortcut. And I think the corruption is just a manifestation of the shortcut kind of mentality, you know. So why am I going to put in 5 years for a degree if I can, you know, pay for it?
Haste in the process.
So yeah, so say why waste 5 years if I can do 1 year? And it's because people feel the 5 years isn't worth it, because if you look at and it's a bigger problem, because you look at people who go through the 5-year process, they're still not employed.
Very true. Very true.
So you see, I think it's a deeper problem. It's not just a corruption issue. There's a shortcut issue. There's a poverty issue. There's a lack of opportunity issue as well. So I don't know. What do you think, Naga?
Oh, for me it all stems down to, first and foremost, we have to break it down. You have to come down to the root of the problem, and you have to establish that fact that people aren't born corrupt. We choose to be corrupt in the small things that we do.
Yeah.
Be it whether you pull up to the supermarket or to any establishment and you want to park somewhere, so you're willing to remove 50 bob or a sock, give it to the watchman, and you're just like, shika chai, let me run in and do this. Or you want to get off, probably been caught doing something illegal, be it drunk and disorderly or baking up, and you want to hasten the process of not going through the justice system. So what do? You hunger them. Now my issue is this. First and foremost, we live in a society where it's okay to get away with illegalities, to the point where they're creating illegalities that have not been committed just to get you in to the system and to give out bribes. Hear me out. This is what I mean. Last year, leading up to elections, we had a lot of cases of people in Westie, left, right and center, being scooped up for things they're not doing, be it crossing the road, absolutely nothing. Just because the cops have seen people don't want to sleep inside. So what do? Create a problem. Definitely these kids don't want to sleep inside. Definitely these adults don't want to sleep inside. So what do? Right. They have to bribe you to get out of it. That's just the root of the problem. Leading up to points where we're getting away with stealing billions of the taxpayers' monies. Like, look at every newspaper headline nowadays. Look at every news outlet nowadays. It's all about how much has been lost. But at the same time, they try to cover up how much has been lost by creating a new scandal. The mercury in the sugar scandal. You see, 2 and 2 are not adding up. As much as we're talking, oh, there's mercury in our sugar. Have you noticed that we've stopped talking about NYS. Have you noticed that we're not giving KPC the attention it deserves? Have you noticed that this war on corruption that the president ordered suddenly has no weight? So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Jeff, anything to add?
Me, in my view, I think it's acceptable with limits, in some form of
Corruption is acceptable.
Yeah, I'm just being realistic because me, I also don't want to lala ndani. So we can talk all day, but me, I'm going to chomoa that 1,000. I'm going to give it. But then I'm saying, like, in terms of limits, because you see, when it sounds like, you see, when you talk about like just giving a bribe so that you can get maybe your car parked somewhere like quickly without going through all the procedure, or if like there's a time you're running on time, so maybe it helps you like do something faster. But then at the same time, I think it's crazy when you see like these scandals that are coming up. Like if people are taking a shortcut just to get like sugar that has mercury, that's something that could kill a nation, you know. So I feel like when it's combined with greed, when it becomes not more of you helping yourself, but at the same time you're pushing someone else down.
Sorry,
you know?
sorry to interject, Jeff,
Yeah.
but the problem is, you know, we talk of limits,
Yeah.
but you see, like a virus, when it comes in, it's a common cold,
Yeah.
but you don't know how it'll manifest in your body.
Yeah.
I might have a weak immune system, it engulfs me, I'm in the hospital. Nyaga might be stronger, he's good in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue, we don't have control of corruption. So, you know, Jeff and Nyaga talked about the corruption scandals with our leaders, but this is the issue. I believe you cannot have national integrity if you don't have individual integrity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Well said, well said.
and it goes down to this. During the election process, we can complain, moan about all this mercury in our sugar, but at the end of the day, 5 years down the line, we will vote in the same people. You know why? He speaks the same
Nope.
language as I do.
Nope.
We come from the same region. Unfortunately,
Now I want to
that's-
interject, and I'm going to tell you this blatantly.
majority
In the past,
do
I
that.
have done that, but I am on a mission within the next few years, guaranteed, to ensure that in 2022, people get in based on merit. At
That's
least the
good.
youth will
Good
vote
for
in that
you.
direction.
I mean,
So
bravo. But the
this-
reality is, I'm not criticizing people like you.
No,
We
no.
want to change.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, we need to first admit, like, you know,
Right.
we are saying there's corruption, blah 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 blah. We are fuming about the sugar, but 5 years down the line, if you really want change, you have to be part and parcel of that change.
I think when it gets to politics as well, it's a deeper problem. It's not just what we see, like the face value. It's more of
Boardroom.
there's also like like the
boardroom
system in itself is just flawed. It's not just about it won't just take one person or a few people who, okay, of course it has to start with
Somewhere.
it has to start somewhere, but that's why we actually need people who are going to maybe step up.
let
or
me
just
tell you
make-
something, yeah? Just to bring it into perspective. Martin Luther King led a revolution. He was taken out because he believed in something. So was Malcolm X. Mahatma Gandhi led a revolution. Put down because of it, came to make sense later. Nelson Mandela led a revolution. Slept in for 26 years, came out and forgave. 26, 27 years, came out and forgave his captors. Now here's the thing, and here's the thing that we need to understand. Us as the youth, first and foremost, think back. Try remember Kenya's history. Who was the official opposition to the government? It was not NASA, it was not CORD. It was the youth, students from University of Nairobi. So we need to understand that we also need to be brave. We need to get to the point where we believe that we are the official opposition of this country, where we can check the government left, right, and center, and that they can actually come up to us guys and give us statistics on how things are being managed, how our funds are going into development projects, and how it's going to benefit our kids in the future. Because trust me, believe it or not, like the time is now. It's no longer at all the youth are the future.
very interesting.
We are the future. The future is here. The future is now.
It's interesting because I was having a conversation with someone of our parents' generation, and their main concern is we, as the youth today, don't really have that, I would call it backbone, to stand up and say, you know, things are bad and we're not for it. And this is what we stand for, this is what we believe in, this is wrong. And so that's interesting because I generally feel like there's a gap. There's sort of like and this is what most people, I've been talking to activists who are our like dad's age or mom's age, and that's the main concern. They're like, are we going to be 80 and we're still fighting for this? Like, are you guys, exactly. So that's a very interesting point that you're raising. Because I do feel in general that we don't concern ourselves with issues like this, and they definitely affect us.
Yeah, true.
And I'm the first person to admit, because like I generally do not like politics, but I would be foolish enough to say and to tell people, okay, I don't want to be involved in politics because I hate it, but it's gonna affect me at the end of the day, and it's gonna affect my people at the end of the day. Yeah.
All I'm saying is the fight against corruption to me is now personal. You know, it should start with yourself. You know, you should stop tolerating corruption. Stop giving out the bribes yourself if you can. You know, if as a population everyone would be, let's say there's a scandal and everyone speaks out against it, it will be chaos. And if everyone demands the people who are involved in it be taken out and go through the right procedure, it will be very hard for people to be corrupt. So I say we all as individuals need to work on ourselves and stop tolerating it.
I'd just like to address a few things that Nyaga and Hque mentioned, which I think are really pertinent. So the first is, Hque, you mentioned that, you know, our parents' generation feel there's a gap.
Yeah.
I also feel partially, that's true, yes, but again, who is responsible for grooming this generation to be the fighters, to carry that mantle? If we never receive that, I personally can tell you, when it comes to, for example, people who are my parents' generation, they would tell you things like, you shouldn't strike, you should focus on your education.
That's true.
Don't get involved.
Because my dad would be like, strike.
You know, so it's
so that's very interesting.
You know, our perspectives have also been shaped by you know, our parents, and so you have that dynamic where we've not been groomed to go forth, because keep your head down, focus on your education, but then education isn't just passing an exam, it's making a difference. And as much as even, you know, for example, a few years ago when I wanted to launch something, a movement, which was about, you know, every positive change starts with you, I had enough grown-ups tell me, you're romantic, that's not how the world functions, get your degree, get your job, and make your change in your job. And so it becomes confusing, because yes, you want to, but you don't know how. So what are you supposed to do? And I guess the question I'd like to pose to Nyaga is, yeah, it's good, like as the youth, we're the leaders of now, as you mentioned, but the question is, what do we do now? And I have a few questions about that too.
I'll answer about what we do now. The thing about policies and the thing about going forward in Kenya is, you'll hear about the president's Big Four agenda, which I fully support. Let's go after that. But in 5 years, as you said, new leaders will be voted in, His term is coming to an end. So you'll hear about a new manifesto with new development agendas. So the focus will more or less shift from here to here. Then that's where you get a lot of corruption coming in. As soon as there's that change, a lot of corruption comes here. So I pose this challenge to the youth and to you, Nasra. Let's forget about the Big Four agenda. Let's forget about policies being set up by our country, and let's focus on the sustainable development goals set out globally in order for all of us to achieve a sustainable way of living. We're talking about our grandchildren and our grandchildren's children. This is the only way we can get it. Like, we need to start focusing. First and foremost, we need to start creating enterprises, start creating movements towards achieving, if not all, at least one goal, one sustainable development goal, or contributing to it, be it better healthcare. What can you do to bring in like sanitary pads to our girls, you know? Like, we need to start thinking outside the box. No, we cannot limit ourselves to Big Four because we've been told it's Big Four nothing. You get me? So we need to start thinking outside the box as well. And we need to do what we have to do to protect the future of our grandchildren, our grandchildren's children, and the future of this country.
I agree with that. But I think it goes down to, on the basic level, as human beings, I think our education system is flawed, personally. Because I think we are teaching people to cram things, but we are not teaching people to be responsible human beings who function in a system which may or may not have the integrity that they have. I think as a country we need to go back to what it means to be a person of integrity and apply that every single day. And the first thing we can start is by stopping this reward mechanism for any shortcut we take.
True.
I think if we don't stop rewarding people for doing the wrong thing, it'll never stop.
Yes, that's very true. But on a positive note, on a positive note, I feel like we're also on the right direction somewhat with regards to the education system that's just been adopted last year by the Ministry of Education, whereas they've sort of set up a new curriculum, which, unlike what we went through, this one is more focused on, especially in the secondary level, improving your skills or working on your skills. So you'll come out in an industry where you're appreciated for your skills. You'll be trained in something that you're good at, not when has Pythagoras theorem ever helped any of us, man? Okay, personally it does not. You know, parts of an insect. Like, it doesn't help me personally, but now what the government is introducing will. So it's something to look forward to. That's on a positive note.
An interesting
But
thing.
there's like, with regards to education, there's like an 8.5 billion error in the production and the printing of the books. There was something of the sort, you know. Yeah, so
That's crazy.
you see, that's now the problem with corruption. When it's like it manifests and just grows.
You know, the thing is, it's
untamable.
because it's
you can't
systemized.
control it.
It feeds into so many things. Like, once you make that action, like once you do that one thing, it's sort of a butterfly effect in the sense that it's gonna leak into other areas of your life. And I think it just applies to systems. Like, once you do that one thing in that one situation, it just bleeds into other things. And sometimes it's so bad it's generational. Because I feel like corruption is generational, and it's sort of like growing and spreading into different things.
Everything.
Yeah.
Right, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up. So parting shots, you can start from Obi, going around.
So my parting shot is, it starts with you. Say no to corruption. Let's better our country. Let's better our whole continent as Africa, because I'd love for this to spread beyond Kenya, beyond Nairobi. Let's just wise up and start doing the right thing, and soon enough we'll see change.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my parting shot.
It's just, as the youth, we need to just step up. If people don't take charge, we need to also take charge. And we have all these views. We're more connected to like the current times. So we know what, like compared to like what we were talking about, our folks. Like, we're more connected to the current time. So we know what kind of changes, and we might have possible solutions, like solutions that would work. And all these are just going to be ideas if people don't step up. We just need more activists, I think. That's my parting shot.
My parting shot is, it starts with you. So start with the things that you can control, the things that you can change, and then I feel like we should come back to this and see what we can do as a collective. Yeah.
Ladies, gentlemen, be unafraid of failure. Yeah? If we want to, we can shake this country up. We as a youth can shake it up, and they will do, not in a bad way or in a hostile way, but they'll do nothing about it. If we want corruption to end, if we as a youth decide, it will end. Trust me. But we have to now take up our role in the society. We have to pick up the mantle and pick up our slack and now start moving in the right direction. It's for the future generations. Yeah.
That was an interesting session. My 2 cents in this is that it starts with me. I am going to do my best to live a life of integrity by making sure that I don't reward anyone for a shortcut. I am hoping you will join me in doing this. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and we're hoping, as we start this conversation, you give us your thoughts, you give us your ideas, so that together, we can make a positive change. Of course, it doesn't start with just me or you. It starts with all of us together. Thank you.
Let us know your thoughts. Comment, hit the comment section right below. Share, like, slide into the DMs, and we'll get back to you. Yeah?
Subscribe.
Peace. See you next week.